everyone, if you want to listen up, if you're with Commonwealth, you're want to be aware of this. They've sent this email out to goodness knows how many thousands, perhaps millions of people with Commonwealth. It seems fairly innocuous at first. It's called Know Your Customer, and they just want to know more details about you, have a check in the pulse, see what you're after. Are you happy with our service? But read the fine print and you will be absolutely disgusted, as was Lewis Christopher. He's the founder of a respected property research firm. And upon reading this email, it was so invasive, he thought to himself, this has got to be a scam. This cannot be legitimate. The questions that they're asking me, he calls up the bank and to his utter disgust, he said, this thing's Orwellian. They said, no, it's legitimately from us. Particularly, they wanted to know why he had cash because they knew that he'd made withdrawals. What are you doing with that cash? Why do you have cash in your home? He says, what I have just gone through this morning with CBA is disgusting. This is him telling the media about it. He said it's absolutely despicable, Orwellian stuff driven by AUSTRAC. AUSTRAC, for your information, is a financial intelligence agency. That should worry you straight off the bat. He said, just out of the blue, the bank sent me the enclosed email and demanded to know, 1, how have I built up my wealth? 2, why have I made cash withdrawals? 3, if I am holding cash at home, why? 4, why did I make certain transactions to third parties? He said, I called the bank and it was true. They were going to suspend all my accounts this week if I didn't tell them the answers to the above questions. They said AUSTRAC gave them the authority to do that. And get this pullout from their email. This is what they were threatening to do if he didn't answer those questions satisfactorily by end of week. This is the email from Commonwealth. They threatened to remove your ability to use and access your account or accounts, remove your ability to use any linked cards, including at ATMs, at point of sales and online, remove your ability to view and access your account or accounts on NetBank and the Commonwealth app, and stop any scheduled transactions, direct debits, direct credits, or regular payments. This, of course, is all part of the push toward digital currency, digital banking. Now, did anyone vote for this? No, baby, but they want you to go digital and they're not asking. Remember, just last financial year, we saw 200 bank outlets closed here in Australia. Over the past 5 years, we saw 6,000 ATMs shut up shop in Australia. That is in just 5 years. We saw Australia's 1/3 of bank branches close. That's what that equates to. And more than half of Australia's ATMs. What is happening? Not just this massive breach of privacy, but these people's refusal to understand that cash is still very important to people. But of course, the authorities don't like that because they don't know how you're spending your money, when you're spending your money, where you are when you spent that money, or why you've spent that money. They're completely in the dark. They don't like it. And they're clamping down so hard, the bank has no shame sending you an email saying, you've made some withdrawals. Where is that cash? What are you doing with it? Is it at home? Why is it at home? Here was this fellow, Lewis Christopher, talking to Ross Greenwood this afternoon on Business Now.
When they went into demanding to know what I'm doing with cash, have I got cash at home?
Have you got cash at home? Why
like everybody else has a bit of cash at home.
That's right.
And then to ask why I've got cash at home.
Yes.
Like, hang on.
It seems bizarre.
And this is a security risk for me and my family.
I'm looking after my family. We need cash on hand. I mean, who among us doesn't have some cash on hand in the case of emergencies? We've seen even in recent months, the lines go down. There's full shopping trolleys at Woolies and everywhere else. People are suddenly unable to buy or do any kind of transaction because they don't have cash on hand.
The Commonwealth Bank of Australia have released a statement explaining what's happened. Here's their statement. They said, we're required to manage our customers' accounts in line with the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Financing Act 2006, which sets out that all banks operating within Australia are required to collect, verify and maintain customer identification information, which, Liz, raises the question, customer identification, how does knowing the amount of cash you've got
Well, they know who he
stashed
is.
under your mattress
He's got an account with
help
them.
the bank to identify you? How does the bank knowing why you gave money to a particular party help them to identify you? They've gone way beyond
Indeed.
their own statement, have they not?
You'd imagine most blokes, if they copped a call from the bank and said, what are you doing with all this cash? You'd say, please don't tell the missus. But I mean, for goodness sake, like Austrac, the mob that drives all of this, which is a governmental department, they look after or monitor financial transactions. Their remit is to stop, money laundering and crime and this sort of thing, right? But for as long as I can get 17 calls a day from scammers, and I drive around parts of Sydney with pretty rundown houses with very expensive cars parked out the front of them, presumably not from legitimate business, why are they going after a legitimate businessman who's been successful? You can't tell me that there are not other things that they should be doing, 100 other things that should be in line before they start calling up legitimate, successful people and saying, you must tell us what you are doing with your money. It's no business of yours what I'm doing with my money. If I want to go and gamble it all away, I'm well within my rights to do that. We're talking about a legitimate businessman. And yet there are people running around dealing drugs and laundering money and whatever all day, every day. And as far as I know, they're not having their bank accounts frozen because they keep doing business. But this bloke who runs a legitimate business is being told, no, you'll get shut down unless you tell us where the money is under your bed.